While Godzilla 1998 was my introduction into, well, this Godzilla verse in general, Godzilla Final Wars was my introduction into the Japanese installments of, well, the Godzilla franchise. So, Godzilla Final Wars was a movie where Godzilla went around the world, beating the mess out of every kaiju he came across until he was the only one left. Well, minus King Caesar, Anguirus, and Rodan, but yeah, I mean, those are the only kaiju he let live. Manila as well. And the thing is, I thought about it and I'm just like, this verse might be a little too easy to clear for a lot of characters here. So I decided, why don't we put Groudon in this situation and see if he actually is able to clear it or not. And with this being the second to last superhero video, I thought it'd be perfect here. Now, the thing about some of these monsters in the Final Wars verse here is that they really don't scale too much to Godzilla. If not, they don't scale to him at all. Some of these monsters were just ragdolled, butchered, beaten. I mean, sure, some of them have at least one solid feat to their name, like Ebirah and Hedora were at least thrown through a couple buildings before they actually exploded. And then you got Zilla, who at least dodged the atomic breath here. And pretty much it was just Monster X and Sawhand Gigan who were the only ones to actually cause any real damage to Godzilla. So a whole lot of fodder, excuse me. So with that being said here, with Groudon outscaling this verse here, we're gonna have to just down him a little bit. We'll say he's in the same tier as Solgaleo, which ironically would probably be a much better matchup now that I think about it, considering he is confirmed to eat entire stars for nourishment. So yeah, I know, crazy, ain't it? And we'll also give him his moveset, his standard moveset. Nothing for evolutions or, well, not evolutions, training and stuff like that here. So Eruption, Solar Beam, Fissure, Percival Blades, Hyper Beam, Solar Beam, Fire Blast, Flamethrower, all that good stuff here. And keep in mind, legendary Pokemon really don't have a limit to how many moves they can use here. Considering the sheer fact that they're legendary, they're kind of just above the rules altogether. I mean, they can Mega Evolve without a Mega Stone on their own. So, yeah, insane, right? So, without further ado, let's begin here. Ebirah and Hedora are up first. And I actually never noticed that Ebirah's claw was, like, in Hedora's head, which is actually pretty funny in my opinion. And, yeah, one Solar Beam should do it. I mean, I don't really see a difference between how Godzilla executed and how Groudon's going to execute him. Groudon just has a lot more versatility, just has a lot more moves at hand here just to play with. So, one Solar Beam, or he pretty much just throws Ebirah into Hedora, getting his claw stuck in him. And then a Solar Beam, Hyper Beam, an Eruption, a Preset Blade, a Fissure, whatever he wants. It just annihilates them all entirely. Now, next up we have Zilla. Now, Zilla actually has a solid feat. Crazy, ain't it? It's just, he has an actual solid feat in Final Wars, right? That is being able to at least leap over and dodge Godzilla's atomic breath here, which again is pretty great. I mean, not a lot of characters can actually dodge the atomic breath here. And the funny thing is, we don't even get a feat like that for Rodan, who's one of the faster monsters in the Godzilla franchise in general. But yet, here is Zilla, just leaping over it like it's nothing. And then he gets promptly clobbered, right? And then finished off with that same atomic breath, meaning all it took was really just one hit. And, well, it took a two-piece to kill him. But then again, it just smacks him into one of Sydney, Australia's national treasures. And then just gets atomic breath to death, right? Crazy. Now, all Groudon really has to do is just use a Fissure, let him jump over it, smack him aside, and then follow up with probably another Fissure, and then it's over. However, I think this is more of akin to his Groudon and Kyogre battle, where he pretty much used Eruption to pulverize Kyogre into the into the glaciers and stuff. And the funny thing is, Kyogre actually jumps at him, Groudon catches him, throws him, and then follows up with an eruption. So, I could actually see him doing this to Zilla. And you know what's actually crazy? These Pokemon actually weigh like in pounds. Realistically, they should be like in the tons department. But again, it is what it is here. If they say they're around 776 pounds, or 776 pounds. Which again makes no sense altogether. But again, anime or, you know, fictional logic just doesn't apply to real life. Now, the other two fighters, Kamacuras and Kumonga, the bug duo. Obviously, Kamacuras dies because he died by a telephone pole. Just outright disgraceful. Now, Kumonga at least did something, and that was at least web up Godzilla, but Godzilla just, like, grabs him and then just flings him, like, over the horizon, probably just into outer space, but then again, just into the horizon as we see in the movie. And Groudon's biology should actually help him, considering the fact that his veins are, like, made of magma at that point, so it would just melt on him. Now, the next ones are Anguirus, Rodan, and King Caesar. Ooh, excuse me. And King Caesar, Anguirus, and Rodan would get the same treatment, in all honesty. Would Groudon kill them? Maybe. I'm 50-50 on that. Because he really wouldn't bother killing you if he doesn't perceive you as a threat, or if you're just not worth his time. However, that doesn't mean he wouldn't indirectly kill them. I mean, he might just use a little too much power and then it's over, you know? Kyogre isn't really a Pokemon that just likes to hold back all of a sudden. Next up, we have Scythe Hands Gigan, and, you know, kind of the same thing. Precept Blade, GG, Fissure, GG, and Solar Beam, GG. I mean, Gigan's not gonna do too much to him. I mean, maybe he could stab and poke him. Maybe he could probably grapple on him. But again, there's really nothing stopping Groudon here from just launching one Solar Beam at his head like Godzilla did with his Atomic Breath. And he pretty much used his Atomic Breath a lot during that movie just to one-shot everybody and get it over with, you know? So Gigan just really doesn't have anything. But let's actually move on to a real challenge. Monster X. Now, Monster X here is probably the only challenge that Groudon's going to face. Matter of fact, I would actually say that Groudon would use every form of versatility on Monster X. And this would include his ability Total Eruption, which allows him to turn the entire environment into an active volcano. Like, you know how Godzilla Unleashed had that magma area for the arena? Yeah, basically very similar to that altogether. And then Monster X is also a much better hand-to-hand combatant than Groudon here, as he was able to pretty much outskill Godzilla on a couple of occasions, if not flat out stalemate him eventually. But then again, Godzilla does get the upper hand at the end here, and then they kind of just tie at the end of the clash before becoming Kaiser Ghidorah. So yeah, Monster X is definitely a critical threat here. And the way I kind of see it going is that Groudon just starts using everything against him here. Monster X is smarter, he's more agile, he's a better hand-to-hand combatant, and I kind of see Groudon just kind of like using everything at his everything at his disposal. Dear God, what's wrong with my voice? Using everything he's got at his disposal here. He'll use Solar Beam, Fissure. Monster X might jump a few. He will still be able to catch him, throw him, hit him with an eruption, and just cause massive amounts of damage. He might just grab him and then just use a Solar Beam. It's also very possible Groudon would probably be just a bit unpredictable and use something at a point-blank range that he just has no business using, just to make sure he gets off some extra damage. Now, when it comes down to it, I actually see this being like the only challengeable fight in here. And this is where we kind of get into Kaiser Ghidorah as well. Now, Kaiser Ghidorah, believe it or not, should be able to somewhat overwhelm Groudon for a little bit here. However, the issue with that is the anti-gravity beams. This could actually be a decent problem for Groudon, considering the sheer fact that he hasn't really dealt with any Pokemon that manipulates gravity on such a degree here, and the fact that he should be able to get picked up, slammed around repeatedly over and over and over again. However, it's also possible that Groudon could disrupt this with just his sheer power alone. They might say, well, Godzilla wasn't able to do it. Well, again, Godzilla doesn't have the same amount of versatility that Groudon has. It's also very possible that Kaiser might be able to bite through him, but then again, due to his volcanic biology, this could hurt. And then again, this could leave him open to another attack here, meaning that Groudon can easily get the upper hand, or better yet here, actually try to get close this time. And I mean, he has a lot of versatility to actually do that. When he gets close, he can deploy whatever he wants here. He could blow Kaiser Ghidorah's heads off here. Now you might say, do you think it's possible he can get close? Yes, he has a lot of versatility to get close here. And considering we do know Kaiser Ghidorah can fly, but we don't know how he would utilize it in combat. So it's very possible that Groudon would probably use a Fissure and just combine it with another attack altogether. Now, let's actually wrap this up with Final Wars Godzilla versus this lower end Primal Groudon, right? Well, we got a couple things to look at. Number one, Godzilla is the faster, more agile, more skilled, and smarter of the two. While Kyogre is the more versatile, he's the more, I would probably say more durable and possibly a bit more experienced than this version of Godzilla, considering the sheer fact that he has fought threats that are more than capable of, well, matching if not overpowering him. Same way Godzilla had at the end here, but at least a more on a consistent basis. Alright? So, with that being said here, how would Godzilla from Final Wars fare against this lower end Groudon? Well, unfortunately, not too well. You see, the thing about it is, while Godzilla is faster and more agile, Groudon just has far more unpredictable maneuvers and far more unpredictable combinations that would pretty much leave Godzilla on the back foot for a large majority of the fight. Godzilla can use his atomic breath to actually deploy and destroy most of these attacks here. However, more often than not, Groudon would be able to overwhelm him. And I think that pretty much is it here for today, you guys. So does Groudon clear the Final Wars verse? Yeah, he pretty much would here. And I would actually say he would do it with low difficulty. And obviously, with his higher ends or his more accurate base ends, he would get through it negative difficulty. But that's going to be all for today, you guys. Please comment down below, like and subscribe and share with your friends. This is Legendary Grimlock, and I hope you guys have a blessed day. Peace.